Bava Kamma Daf Mem Dalid. We begin with the last few lines of Daf Mem Gimel, and we'll have three Mishnayos discussing three separate sugyas, all within the topic of what happens when a shar kills a person. When do you pay kaifer? When does he get skila? So our three sugyas will be: first of all, does it apply to children? Second of all, does it apply if he killed by accident? And third will be, does it make a difference who his owner was? Is there a status of owner that's not chayiv? So let's begin. Gemara first discusses whether the halachos of the shar that he gets skila and that the owner has to pay kaifer, does that apply if he kills a child as well as if he kills an adult? So for that, the Gemara quotes a brisa. The brisa brings a pasuk which is fairly explicit. It says that the halachos of killing a person, if a shar kills a person, apply even to a child. Now the Gemara asks, it should be able to be learned from that of where a person kills a person, either by mamatzinu or by kal v'chomer. Why do we need a pasuk for this? So the mamatzinu would be, just like you have when a person kills another person, it doesn't matter if he kills an adult or a child, he's chayiv. All the halachos are the same. Same thing should be if a shar kills another. If a shar kills a person, you should be chayiv whether he's killing a child or an adult. Why should I think that there's a difference? The second one is the kal v'chomer, because the child is not chayiv for killing. If he would be the murderer, a child doesn't get misa for that. As opposed to a shar, where if a shar kills a person, makes no difference how old the shar is. Shar from day one is already considered to be halachically a shar, and all the halachas apply. Now, therefore, let's look at our halacha here. So if you have a person who kills another person, it makes a difference if the killer is a child or an adult. There is a chilik between adult and child in the sugya of person killing a person. However, in the sugya of a shar killing a person, there's no chilik. Therefore, kal v'chomer, if when a person kills a person, he's chayiv whether he killed an adult or a child, then when a shar kills a person, certainly he should be chayiv whether there's an adult, whether the victim is an adult or a child. So why do we need the pasuk of bein gacha b'asigach? So the Gemara answers because there is pircha tis kal v'chomer and this mamatzinu, and that is that a shar is not chayiv in the four things that a person is chayiv in besides for nezikin when he attacks another human. There are, besides for nezikin, there's tsar, ripoy, sheves, and vicious. A person is chayiv of those. A shar is not chayiv of those, and therefore I might think that a shar is more lenient, and he shouldn't be chayiv if he kills a child. Now, the Gemara says, therefore you have the pasuk of oy bein gacha b'asigach to be mechayivim for killing a child. Now, the Gemara asks that in context is only talking about a mood. How do you know the same is true for a tam? So the Gemara says, what do you mean? The same thing. I should have a limud and I should have a kal v'chomer. I should compare a child to an adult. When a shar kills an adult, there's no chelik between a muad and a tam. Either one are chayiv skila. So the same thing should be true when a shar kills a child. There should be no chelik between a muad and a tam. It should be chayiv skila, and also it should be a kal v'chomer. A child is in a much stronger position relative to nezikin than an adult is. If an adult causes damage to a child, he's chayiv, but if a child causes damage to an adult, he's potter. Therefore, if the shar is chayiv skila for killing an adult, kal v'chomer should be chayiv skila for killing a child. So my answer is no, there's a pircha on that, and that's because an adult is chayiv in mitzvahs, and is chayiv in mitzvahs, it makes more sense that the shar who kills him should receive skila. A child is not chayiv in mitzvahs, perhaps you would not say that. Now, because of all this, you have the pasuk of bein gacha b'asigach to teach me it doesn't make a difference. A tam, a muad, a child, an adult, all things the shar is chayiv misa for. Okay, now the Gemara moves on to the topic of what happens if the shar killed without kavana, without intending to kill, he killed by accident, or the lachos be there. We'll have to discuss both kaifer and skila. So we begin our next Mishnah. The Mishnah says that if a shar was rubbing himself against the wall and the wall fell and it landed on top of a person and killed him, so that would be one situation where we would assume that it was shaloi b'kavana, he wasn't intending to kill him. Or if he was trying to kill an animal and instead he struck a person, killing an animal wouldn't be chayiv misa or kaifer for. So that's an example of shaloi b'kavana. Or if he was intending to kill a Kanani and he killed a Ben Yisrael, or if he was intending to kill a Nefel, a child which was not viable, and instead he killed a fully viable individual. In all these cases, he's putter. That's what the Mishnah says. Now, he doesn't specify putter of what, so that's what the Gemara begins with. So the Gemara says that Shmuel and Rav both agree that he's putter from Misa. There's no skila if it's shalei b'kavana. However, there's a machlekes if he has to pay kaifer or not. That is, if the owner has to pay kaifer for this or not. So Shmuel says he's chayiv kaifer, and Rav says he's putter. Now the Gemara asks, why would Shmuel say that he's chayiv kaifer if he's a tam? It's highly unlikely that such a rare scenario happened 3 times. So the Gemara says, no, it's possible that he was a mood. We're really talking about where he was a mood. We have a sugya coming up where a shar falls into a pit and kills a person who was in the pit. And we asked over there, how is it possible to be a muad for that? And Rav there explained that it is possible. It happens 3 times. So here also, this could have happened 3 times. It's not a kasha on Shmuel. So the Gemara says, what happened 3 times? 3 times that he rubbed himself against the wall and the wall fell on someone else. If that's true, that sounds like he did it on purpose. That's not by accident. So then he should be killed for that. Why would the halacha be that he's pater from Misa? Now, in the case where he fell in the hole, he was trying to get something in the bottom of the hole. He's trying to get something that grew there. But what could be the explanation as to why he did this 3 times? He rubbed himself against the wall and knocked it down on top of a person. So the Gemara says, no, it's not that he was trying to kill the person. He was just trying to scratch an itch that he had. That's why he rubbed himself against the walls. Now the Gemara says, how would we know what his intent was? The Gemara says, very simple, because after the wall fell, he didn't stop. He continued to scratch himself against the wall. That is the proof that he was intending to scratch himself and had nothing to do with it trying to kill the person. Now the Gemara asks, it's still tzeroyos, because he knocked down the wall, then the stones went and flew and fell. And the halacha is that there is no kaifer for tzeroyos. So the Gemara answers that we're talking about where he pushed it literally on top of the person and it stayed with his body all the way down, and therefore it's not tzeros, it's regular hezek. Now, the Gemara says we have a brisa that says explicitly like Shmuel, which is a kasha on Rav. The brisa discusses where there is a chiyuv of kaifer and misa for the shar. You could have any of 4 combinations. So you could have a shar is chayiv both, a shar is chayiv neither, and a shar is chayiv either one without the other. What's it dependent on? So the brisa says it's dependent on whether the killing happened b'kavana and whether he was a tam or a muad. A tam doesn't pay kaifer, a muad does pay kaifer. If it's b'kavana, the brisa says, then there's misa for the shar. If it's low b'kavana, then there's no misa for the shar. So therefore, if it would be muad and kavana, it would be both tam and kaifer. It'd be neither. So then there'd be neither. If to be one and not the other, then you would have misa or kaifer or misa. Those are the 4 options. So it clearly says that in the case of shalei b'kavana, there is no misa exactly like Shmuel. Now, the brisa adds one line, which starts our next sugya, and that's what happens if an nezikin happens shalei b'kavana. A shar causes hezek, not misa, but hezek, without intent. He's trying to do something else. So there's machlekes opinion of Shimon. Rav Yehuda says he's chayiv for that, and Rav Shimon says he's pater for that. What's the machlekes about? So the Gemara says the machlekes is, do you learn nezikin from kaifer, or do you learn nezikin from the misa? The shar is pater for misa if it was shaloi bekavana. In the case where he kills shaloi bekavana, he's pater from misa, but he's chayiv kaifer. So do I learn nezikin from the kaifer and therefore he's chayiv, or do I learn nezikin from the misa and he's pater? Well, what's the logic behind this argument? So the Gemara explains that Rav Yehuda says you learn payment from payment, and therefore you learn a payment for the zikin from a payment from kaifer, and you chayiv for the 2 of them. Rabbi Shimon says, no, you don't learn payment from payment. You learn the obligation of the shar from the obligation of the shar. Kaifer is on the master. It's a payment he's paying to redeem his own soul. However, nezikin is an obligation on the shar, and misa is also an obligation of the shar. So therefore I learn those from each other, and just like he doesn't get misa with shalei b'kavana, he doesn't have to pay nezikin shalei b'kavana. Okay, the Gemara now moves on to discuss the next line in the Mishnah. The Mishnah had said that if the shar intends to kill a behema and instead he kills a person, that's called shalei b'kavana, and he's part of that. Implication being, if he intends to kill Reuven and instead he kills Shimon, he would be chayiv for that. It's not an example of shalei b'kavana. So Gemara says that is the opinion of the Rabban against Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon holds that if a shar, we have a brisa where Rabbi Shimon holds that if a shar intends to kill one person and then he kills another person, that he's pater for that as well. Now, the Gemara says, what is Rabbi Shimon's reasoning? He learns Hashar Yisakal V'gam Ba'al Yumas. The pasuk says that links the shar to his master. The shar only gets misa in a situation where had a human done something like that, he would get misa for that. And the halacha is that if a person intends to kill Reuven instead he kills Shimon, he's pater. He doesn't get misa for that. Now, so Gemara asks, what is the source for that? How do you know that? So Gemara quotes the pasuk v'arav lo v'kamalav. He lies in wait for him as if he hunts him and he rises up against him. That's the pasuk describing murder. And it says, we see there that he has to actually be mechavin, he has to actually be intending to kill this one all along. Now, the Rabbanan disagree. The Rabbanan say that's not what this pasuk is for, and if he intends to kill Reuven and kill Shimon, he's chayav misa for that just as much. And the Gemara says, what do the Rabbanan do with the pasuk of Arav Lai? The Gemara says, that's to teach that if he threw an Evan behind him, and it flew and it hit someone, and it killed him, then he's pater for that. That's a situation you don't get misa for that. There's no Arav Lai. So Gemara says, well, hold a second. What's the story there? Let's say there are 10 people standing behind him. If 9 of them are Kenanim and 1 is Yisrael, so it's Roiv Kenani, so you wouldn't be chai for that anyway. You don't need a pasuk to tell me that he's pater for that. If it's 50-50, so then Safik Nefashis L'Hakol, 50% chance it would have hit Yisrael. Okay, Safik Nefashis L'Hakol, you wouldn't need a pasuk for that either. So the case has to be where it's Roiv Yisrael. Let's say there's 9 Yisrael and 1 Kenani. So the chiddush is then the halacha of kol kavul kamechza mechza dami, where if you have a situation where you are approaching the mixed multitude, it's considered to be 50-50. He's coming and he's throwing the stone towards those people, even though it's roiv Yisrael and he should be chai for that. Still, the halacha is that it's like 50-50, and therefore something fashes l'hakol and he's pater. That's a chiddush that we learn from here. Now we begin our next Mishnah, which discusses 6 different variables as to who the owner of the shar will be and how it affects whether or not it gets skila. So the Mishnah lists a shar which belongs to a woman, to orphans, if it's under the control of an apotropis, shar which is just wandering around in the midbar, that is obviously hefker, shar which belongs to hektish, or shar which belongs to a ger who died and has no inheritors, and therefore he's hefker as well. I'm going to explain the difference between that and shar midbar. All these, the Tana Kamma says they are chayiv misa anyway if they kill somebody. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, the shar midbar, the shar hektish, and the shar the ger who died are pater because they have no owner. You have to have a specific owner. The isha, the yisayim, and the apotropos are all owners, but there has to be an owner. So now we begin the Gemara, which quotes a brisa that expands on this. And the brisa points out that the word shar is used 7 times in the pasuk describing the parsha of the misa for killing. And one of them is needed legufai, and the other 6 are to include these 6 halachos: shar isha, yisayim, apotropos, midbar, hektish, and ger shemes ve'inlei yarsham. And Rabbi Yehuda says that shar midbar, shar hektish, and ger shemes are all pater from misa because they don't have an owner. Now the Gemara says Rav Huna says that Rabbi Yehuda would pater even if the state of ownership came about after the goring occurred. That is, he gored, and then someone was makdish him, or mafker him. Still, the halacha would be that he doesn't get misa because he has no owner. Now, the Gemara says, what's the proof of that? If you look in the Mishnah, it has to be, because it mentions shar midbar and shar gersh inlei hayarsh, and those are the same thing. Why is it repeated? One must be referring to a situation where it had an owner at the time that the goring occurred, and it was hefker later, and one is referring to where it gored at the time that it was hefker. Both those would be pater from the misa. Now the Gemara says there's a brisa that explains Rabbi Yehuda just like Rav Huna said. Rabbi Yehuda who says that even if he gored and then he was makdish him, or he gored and then he was mafker, he's pater anyway. Because Torah says who'd be b'ayla behemis, it has to be that the hamada bedin, that is the arraigning in court, and the actual misa that he caused are in the same situation, both having the same owner. And the Gemara asks, the Gemardin doesn't have to be under the same ownership, but it says Hashar Yisakel. And that's talking about the Gemardin, the actual decision of the court. So Gemara says, you're right, you have to have all 3. You have to have the misa, the Hamadabdin, and the Gemardin all under the same ownership. Now let's begin our last Mishnah, with which we'll end the daf. The Mishnah discusses what happens if somebody was makdish or shechted his animal after it got a psak. Is it chayiv? Is it chal or not? So the Mishnah says that if a shor was on its way out to be killed through skila, and the owner was makdish it, the hektish is not chal. If he shechted it, the shchita is also not chal. It doesn't say not chal, but the flesh stays usher. You can't matter the flesh like that. Now, if before the Gemardin he was makdish it, or he shechted it, then it would be chal v'hektish, and the shechita would work, and the basa would be mutter. Now, completely separate halacha. The Gemara says, what happens if a shor was given to a shemer china, mashal, nesis chayra seicher? That is somebody who is hired to guard your property, somebody who guards it for free, he's watching it for you, or if somebody's renting it, or if somebody's lent it. All these take the place of the owner. As far as all the laws of nazikin, if the animal then gets out and causes a damage, so for a time you pay chatzi nezek, and for mud you pay nezek shalem.